from all, to all, with all, for all, through all. We thank the gods of creation. We thank the ancestors. We thank the forces of nature. And we thank the earth. We thank them for their direction, their protection, their guidance, for keeping us, showing us, allowing us to know and enjoy life to its fullest, now and later.
Black people who once loved with the slow march of time. Time was ours to hold in the soft, low-born chambers of our hearts. And once we, the Afro mommies and daddies of a sun world, would turn our strands of hair into antennas to tune in the juju madness and syncopated love rhythms of Africa. And we loved with time, and we took the time to love. And with the right time we love, and we love time after time. Will we ever love again? Will we ever love again? Will we really ever love again? Or will we just sit and rot away with the brighter tomorrows in the skag field, rat-cluttered halls of our minds?
Black people, what y'all gonna do? Black people, what y'all gonna do?
Will the real black people please stand up?
Jumbo Habari, and welcome once again to Our Story, the program that makes being black positive, relevant, desirable, and true to a lost nation in America. A program that speaks to the historical significance of the original people of the earth. Our Story Network takes pride in setting itself away from other programs that centers on entertainment or rhetorical mumbo-jumbo that misdirects your attention onto other things that causes you to exhaust your resources and renders you brain dead. It is Our Story who talks about commitment to you and your people. It is Our Story that champions the reestablishment of the black genius that once ruled the world. It is Our Story that focuses you in on the rewards of black advocacy, black activism, black involvement, and black power. It is Our Story that encourages survival of the black race and solicits your involvement to that end. Black folks must remember, race first is the call of the day, and we as a people must. I say must take the pledge if we, the people of the original race, expect to survive. As I take the many lessons I have received over the years and reflect upon them by sharing these lessons with my brothers and sisters, I realize the power that we as a people possess for the most part has gone unnoticed. The masses of black folks who have been rendered lost and disenfranchised from the meaning and mission our creators intended for us to embrace is all but depleted. It is because of the mission and meaning of the life of our ancestors that I realized how blessed as black people we really are. What fascinates me are the many gifts I have been granted, which allows me to distribute the information onward to you. As always, that message begins and ends with the importance of blackness. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Greetings, friends, comrades, family, the inquisitive onlookers, and our beloved viewers. Welcome, welcome, and welcome to Our Story Network. We thank you for being with us this evening, and we trust you will take something of value away with you after the program. That is the aim and goals of Our Story Network, the network that leads the pack in modern-day communications and ancient and modern education. I say ancient and modern education because of the many errors we have found in the translations and interpretations of ancient records. The modern revelations by new black scholars have opened the window of discovery that has allowed the truth and knowledge originally disseminated by the black masters of education to flourish once again. This is one of the stumbling blocks that has kept black people from rebuilding their greatness and recapturing their birthright. Good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Our Story Network. Before we continue with the commentary this evening, I need to take a sidebar for the purpose of acknowledging last week's cancellation of the program we are airing tonight. Because of the so-called Hurricane Barry, there are two news items I must comment on before we continue with tonight's program. First, something needs to be done about the media overcasting the weather approaching New Orleans. The fear and priorities placed on the pending storm were overemphasized to the point of causing hysteria. The hysteria caused people to spend unnecessarily, using money they did not have. The fact that we had flooding last Wednesday was not the cause of the potential hurricane, but rather the continued problems with the Sewage and Water Board. For some reason, the political subdivisions cannot and has not been able to correct this problem. Throwing money at the problem has not been the answer. Politicians are not held to the same standards citizens are held. This needs to stop. The second news cycle that has to be commented on is the fake presidency of Donald Trump. If we were in 1861, Donald Trump and the entire Republican Party would be the leadership of what finally became the Confederate States of America. For some reason, the Democrats and black political leadership refuses to call a spade a spade. While many are calling Donald Trump a racist, few, if any, are calling the Republican Party a racist party that excludes the considerations of people other than white. Donald Trump leading the charge of the racist white right, the Republican Party is in effect the Confederate States of America, pushing the agenda of the Confederate States of America. It is unfortunate that the Democratic Party has not seen the need to take a stand against the resurgence of the Confederate States of America and their agenda of a South African-style apartheid political reality. More to come next week. Tonight, we have a very interesting program focused on giving you options. If you have been watching this program for any length of time, you will know I am big on options. I am big on offering you all the options I can find. So, stay right there and we will get into alternative education as well as alternative vocations. I just want to take a moment out from our regular program to share with you the celebration of 99 years for one of New Orleans' greatest activists in the city. Many of you know Brother Andy Washington, a crusader for people's rights and freedom. Brother Andy has been a constant soldier on the battlefield with such noted groups as Community United for Change, the NAACP, Postal Union Workers, and many, many more. Brother Andy Washington was involved in the civil rights cases which integrated City Park's golf course and playgrounds. Brother Andy was also involved in the lawsuit that integrated the municipal auditorium. Brother Andy Washington has been a fixture in the New Orleans civil rights movement since 1940. Brother Andy was also in the leadership of the 99% movement just a few years ago. I, for one, am proud and thankful that I have had this opportunity to learn from one of the giants of the Black Revolution. It is an honor to fight beside one of the New Orleans grassroots leaders. There were many days when I called for actions against injustice, and Brother Andy was one of the first to mount his post. Sometimes Brother Andy rode his bicycle, and sometimes Brother Andy would drive to the event with a carload of people coming to stand and be counted. I have seen Brother Andy receive accolades from the mayors, city council members, and NAACP and other such organizations. Brother Andy's best accolades comes from the people he serves. To see the love from fellow activists and advocates during this celebration was worth more than diamonds and gold. Brother Andy Washington, proud to be a New Orleans original. I personally thank Brother Washington for his service to humanity and the people of New Orleans. If only we had more people like Brother Andy. New Orleans would be closer to being perfect. Now, turning our attentions to the conversation for tonight, I was given a number to call several weeks ago because the person felt I would be interested in what Brother Frank had to say. Once I called the number, I was amazed to learn some of the ancestral mastery of ancient Kemet had materialized here in New Orleans. I was also amazed to learn about a private school that offered black children an option to public education. Now, when I say an option to public education, I'm referring to schools similar to St. Augustine High School. We have with us tonight Brother Frank Uqdah, who will tell us more about the options to our public school system as well as options to vocational opportunities here in New Orleans. Brother Frank, I want to thank you for taking the time for being with us. If you would, tell us a little about Life of Christ Christian Academy as well as the coding that you teach with computers. Brother Frank?
Yes, sir. Thanks again, Brother Johnson, for having me on your show tonight. What we are doing at the Life of Christ Christian Academy is definitely inspiring. Life of Christ Christian Academy is a school that where students can receive a wholesome, complete pedagogy framework and sustain themselves academically and prepare themselves to be leaders and sustain themselves in this American fabric. The school at Life of Christ Christian Academy is a school that sustains us from pre-K level to the 12th grade level. My position at Life of Christ Christian Academy is I am the IT director and also over the science and mathematics there. I will be doing that this year. We do have a coding curriculum that we'll be implementing with elementary students all the way up to the 12th grade, as well as IT certifications and curriculums. But there are three components that make up our school, and I will elaborate on each. First being that Life of Christ Christian Academy has been established since 1997. A lot of people are unaware that the school's in our immediate environment, but we want to get the word out, and we are getting stronger and better each day. The headmaster of Life of Christ is Miss Cheryl Freelo, and this year we will have a Dr. Hearns, who is also an expert in the area of education and keeping the maintenance on curriculums and performance. Like I was saying, at Life of Christ, we have, well, Ms. Cheryl, she's an expert at different types of ways that students and kids learn. That is her expertise. And we try to facilitate those situations for the students. We have learned, and we have become smart as a society, that everyone does not learn the same. So in studying and analyzing that, we have tailored technique and curriculum on making the child of emphasis, not us, not the way we are, not what we do, but that individual. Once we learn how that individual is wired and what are the best chances to help that student succeed, we cultivate that curriculum or that way, that teaching style for that student. And Ms. Cheryl Freelo is the best among us at identifying those situations. Obviously, my expertise is the IT and technological curriculums and field that we'll be implementing. And our location, for anyone that wants to come and investigate or find out what we do and what we work, are interested in having his student or child come there, is 1851 North Durgeon in New Orleans area. And our phone number is 504-945-5778. It is a private school, and we are trying our best each and every day to help other students who may not be able to afford the private situation attend and be among us to receive this information and become successful. Our school starts in the morning at from 8 a.m. to 3:30. We do have uniforms, and our ratio right now is roughly anywhere from 10 to 15 to 1 instructor or teacher. And what we provide and offer the children and students that come there is they will be in an environment where the expectations for extraordinary performance are there. We expect them to be extraordinary, and they are reminded of that each day. We don't expect them to have anxiety and stress. We expect them to come and want to learn, and we do our best to make that situation desirable and enjoyable for them, so that they once that process is executed, the teaching process is simpler. Mm-hmm. Because in the word education, which is Latin based, it means to bring out. Our job is to bring that appetite out of the individual, so that they're asking questions. They want more of the information. And so we work hard at that piece. We also will have an after school situation for extra tutoring, and we'll be expanding programs, and obviously in the after school in the evening. But right now we only offer the tutoring for those students after school who may want more information or more teaching. We have that. We will have that, and we will be having. We have an open house process. You can always come visit, come ask questions, give us a call. We do have a website. The website is www.thecommunityschool.info, and we also have www.lifeofchristchristianacademy.com. You can visit those websites, join our mailing list, and someone will contact you. If you call and no one answers, don't panic. We will respond to that and accommodate any questions you may have. As I said earlier, we have pre-K, elementary, the middle, and the high school. And that component that takes care of the elementary, Ms. Cheryl, Ms. Freelo, she's usually the administrator for that piece, that portion of the student body. Dr. Hearns and I will handle the middle and high school portions of that. And because we are dealing with what in my opinion, is a very critical area of childhood development, adolescence, and particularly with our young male youth, we have tailored certain teaching methodologies to deal with our male youths, and we are always trying to make that universally congruent with obviously our girl students as well. But we, as men, we pay particularly close attention to the way our male youths carry themselves and conduct themselves. And so respect, etiquette, things like that, things that we invented as a people. Mm-hmm. We try to remind them of that, remind them that they are descendants of Adam, that human excellence is their birthright. And so if they're repeatedly reminded of this every day, they carry themselves better, and the expectations go up. And so that portion is where we will, it's all Life of Christ Christian Academy, but we call that portion the community school.
Right.
And I'll tell you the differences and the way we deal with that. And our missions and visions are rooted in our efforts to remove all barriers. We want to remove all barriers to extraordinary students. We want to bring the gifts out, right? This is what the community school is about. And provide a sustained condition and environment where they want to come, where they want to learn. Like I'm reiterating that because that's so important.
It is.
It's so important that you're not making somebody learn something.
Right.
That's not the teaching process.
It's
not the teaching process. So we are aiming to create a whole school, whole child pedagogical framework that uses multi-tiered systems of support as a catalyst for the evolution the evolution of typical and traditional school cultures. We are against the grain. We think outside the box. I'll give you a scenario that Ms. Freelo shared with me a few days ago. She told me that some students learn what she called tactical. They use their hands, right? Now in our public school system, if a child is fidgety, getting up all the time, right? There are some schools that will criminalize that behavior.
That's exactly right.
Right? Yeah, there are some schools, charter systems, I've been among them, they will criminalize that situation, right? What we do at Life of Christ Christian Academy, we notice that, wait a minute, when he stand up playing around, he getting right answers. Leave him alone. Let him stand up over there, as long as he's getting his work done.
Right.
Right? And so, as a family, as a learning environment, we identify we all are different people. We all have that diversification right within the family. If you have siblings, you know all your brothers and sisters ain't the same, so you can't put everybody in the same learning box.
That's right.
And we identify that at Life of Christ Christian Academy. And Dr. Hearns is the headmaster of that particular platform. Our program provides support and services to families and work collaboratively with courts and other agencies that serve these students. So when we find out, if we find out a student has certain issues or things going on, whether it be behavioral stuff like that, we have experts and professionals in our environment to accommodate those situations as well in the community school. And obviously, last but not least, my expertise is to deal with and give our environment a sustainable, competitive IT, information technology curriculum that will not only have our students who complete or graduate from us with at least one IT certification where he can sustain himself economically, but also the ability to do the work is one thing. But we have a situation with what we call New Life Journey at Life of Christ Christian Academy, where that individual who is learning the IT curriculum and trying to get a certification, he also will be enrolled in a employment situation, more than likely before he or she graduates.
I wanted to get into that because when I visited this school, I was amazed at the IT approach and what was available. So let our audience know exactly what it is you're doing on the IT side, which gets them certified, and the kind of monies that they will be able to demand in a marketplace that is short of these type of technicians.
Exactly. Well, that's interesting. The situation we are in now, in the world of technology, if anybody has been paying attention, the world of technology is moving much faster than society is. All right, and so that symmetry has created in America, in our society, where we have a shortage of IT personnel, and that shortage in our system, the way we do things here, is what creates the substantial wages and salaries. Also, to add to that, the IT field is much different than many other fields, and it's so that many other fields, they say, like, a lot of people ask me, do you work with Dr. Mackey? I say Dr. Mackey is doing a wonderful job with his STEM program, all right? Because, you think STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Well, Dr. Mackey is the E in STEM. He's the engineer.
Yes.
All right? I'm the I. I'm not the I, I'm the T. I'm technology, right? And so it's different. What's the difference? The major difference is Dr. Mackey, obviously, he's accomplished in the engineering field with PhDs or master's degrees in engineer. And he could sustain himself with those degrees for probably another 20, 30 years. In IT, we never arrive. We have to constantly keep learning. All right, our certifications usually run out in 36 months. So the smartest person in IT always got to sit back down at some point because that's how fast that particular industry is moving. So, which is why our environment and the way we teach at Life of Christ Christian Academy, we really not only have to, we want to trigger and ignite the appetite to want to know, to want to learn. Because when you have that, you can excel in the IT field. And so the thing about the IT industry that is also attractive, particularly for our people, is that you don't have to go to school, traditional school as we grew up in America, thinking at one time, graduating from high school, going to college, at least 4 years, maybe 6 or 8, usually give you a subsequent nice income, nice job, you were able to take care of your families. And then something happened in America, and I know that's a topic for another show, but things happen in America where that one breadwinner wasn't enough.
Right.
And so now, people have to have 2, maybe 3, sometimes even 4 jobs to sustain themselves and their families, right? And so...
But in the IT field, that's not necessarily true, is it?
It's not. It's not. In the IT field, you have what is called, and this is not my language, the hidden STEM economy. The hidden STEM economy is a term that depicts that particular and certain demographic of individuals making anywhere from 10 to 15% more income and wages than a person who went to a traditional 4-year or 6-year program in college. They're making more money than the college graduate because they got the right certification and they know how to do the work, right? And so it's the funny thing. In my way of life, there's an ancient saying, with every difficulty, there is relief, right? And the funny thing is that when you look at the educational panel, what you see is that Louisiana is usually, if not at the bottom, they are very near bottom most of the time, academically. But that being so, because we have weak school systems that we always trying to strengthen up, it creates the perfect environment for the hidden STEM economy, because we're not really producing college material students in Louisiana. All right? Mm-hmm. Most of our seniors that graduate, I think I'm approximating this number. I know it's in the high 80s, maybe mid 90s, of that student needing some type of remedial situation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so because of that, Louisiana is ranked number 4 in America of a hidden STEM economy. Number 4, which means it's the perfect environment. We're now producing college material. Guess what? This is the perfect trade for them. This is the perfect industry for that individual. This type of trade can really help him, right? Or her. And so when you investigate this language, you will see that that's what the hidden STEM economy is. It's hidden, right? Because a lot of them don't know.
Yeah.
They're unaware. They don't know that, wait, I could get an A+ certification, get some work experience, and pay some bills. Get some work done. And because it's IT, I got to recertify anyway. I get the next certification, the next highest one, and make even more money, right? And so many people are finding that out. New Orleans is not necessarily a technology hub. What I find here is that a lot of students here that take courses, and we're going to talk about that too, the different IT courses that are available and what people need to know about that. But what we find is that the courses that people are taking as far as IT courses are good. They're not a problem. When people go to IIT, DeVry, Phoenix, institutions like that, they're learning the language. They're learning the technical accoutrements to the IT course they're taking. Most of the time, they don't get enough hands-on, and they definitely don't get the work experience. All right? And so about 5 years ago, 6 roughly, there was a situation where there was a Yes We Code conference here in New Orleans. I think that was 5 years ago when Prince came to Essence, 4 or 5 years ago. There was a Yes We Code conference then. I'm mentioning Prince's name. He's passed away. May God forgive him and his sins and grant him peace. He's the one that really initiated Yes We Code with Dr. Van Jones, who was on former President Barack Obama's administration. All right? Yes We Code is a national platform to get at least over 100,000 minority people like us, quote unquote, to be supercomputer coders in America.
I wanted to touch upon a couple things. You talked about the hidden STEM and income as being part of a language that most blacks do not have any awareness of. I found several years ago that most blacks, especially here in New Orleans, knew nothing about what disposable income was.
Right.
And if you have no knowledge about disposable income, then that means that you have no desire to find a job that will pay you enough to keep you from getting a second and third job.
Right.
Now, what I was taking away from the IT certifications and the courses that you have in coding was an opportunity for, especially for blacks, male and female, to be able to not only get into a multiple level income source, but to be able to maintain that income because they are constantly recertifying.
That's right.
You know, would you talk about the certification and the coding and the kind of numbers that people can expect to receive?
Okay, I will do that. Obviously, IT field is so dynamic and so diverse. There are a lot of areas a person can go in, but most of the time they will go into a channel of basic, fundamental, what we call, and the CompTIA, which is the platform that determines who is an IT professional. There's a test, the A+ certification, right? CompTIA is a nonprofit platform that creates these certification and tests. All the Fortune 500 companies use this testing and government agencies to determine who is a IT professional. What that means to you and I, Brother Johnson, is that 5 years ago after the Yes We Code conference, I was working for the city, writing workforce development curriculums, helping young people learn how to keep a job because they didn't have the etiquette. You know, they might do something crazy or you stupid, then have conflict resolution down pat and they might get fired. So I was doing that type of work at one time. And my argument to the city was, if this is a progressive city, kids from the hood shouldn't have to leave town for IT certification.
Hold that point, would you? Because we have a caller that has a question or comment. And I want to remind our viewers to turn, when you're calling in, turn the volume all the way down on your television and talk to us directly in and through the telephone. Caller, we appreciate you participating. What is your question or comment?
Hey, God bless both of you. How you all doing today?
Great, thank you. How are you?
All right. Just coming in, so hopefully I asked the question and hopefully it hasn't been addressed already. But I'd like to congratulate the brother there on what he's doing there. And how do you?
I'm hearing you.
Oh, how do the institution? How do you fund what you're doing? First of all, it's very impressive what you're doing. How do you fund it? And then two, why don't we have more black churches or spiritual institutions doing what you're doing, in your opinion?
Yeah, could you repeat that again, please?
Okay. How do you fund what you're doing? Is a magnificent project you're doing. How do you go about funding it? Number one. And number two, why don't we have more black churches or more black spiritual institutions doing what you're doing, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, is good. That's a good question, brother. To answer that, the reason why you don't see a lot of people like me that have gained a level of expertise and the skill set or teaching it is because of what we are dealing with Yes We Code. There's not enough diversification in the IT workforce, right? And so what that creates is, that created in America, there's a lot of job opportunities, right, for people who want to get in. What we are dealing with now is a situation, not my language, it's called algorithm bias. Algorithm bias is people programming and using artificial intelligence, but the programmers, right, if all the programmers are racist people, then that means one day if this keeps up, the robot that's pulling you over for speed is gonna pull you over and not somebody else. If the racist IT guy is doing all the programming, that's what's gonna happen. And it's funny, but it's happening now. Right now, we are dealing with a situation in Yes We Code where facial recognition is biased. The cars that drive themselves, they won't recognize me and you. We'll get hit. This is serious business. And don't forget where you're living at. You're in New Orleans, Louisiana. Here, they try to push our young people into the hospitality channel. Sweeping, mopping, making beds, and cooking.
Service industry.
Right? And like I was alluding to before you called, that I had students that was on the dean's list at DeVry, Phoenix, and ITT. And wondering why they're not working. I told them when they came to my class, you never got certified. You went took a class. You went paid $18,000 for a course, and you was on the dean's list. But the certification exams, CompTIA or Cisco, is what's going to determine whether or not you're an IT professional. That is what we offer at Life of Christ Christian Academy to students. And by the way, it also is a beautiful industry for youth because it's the only industry, listen at this, where a child can get hired by one of these. There are hackathons in America. And executives from Bang, Microsoft, IBM, Google, they there to see who win. They don't care how old he is. There's a 12-year-old at IBM making over $80,000 a year. So this is what we offering our youth, all right? Somebody has to, if I don't tell them they got children their age making money with they sending their mama to the Bahamas. They're not asking their mama for nothing. Their kids are asking, Mom, what you want? You want a car this year? That's what's going on in America. And so that's what I'm a part of Yes We Code, because someone has to do this work. And another thing, coding is going to be the new language in the next decade. In the next 10 to 15 years, if you can't code, you're going to be dependent on somebody who can. But I'll give it to you in layman's terms. You ever try to go to a gated community? What usually happens when you don't know the code? You're going to pull over to the side and wait till somebody shows up who can code it, right? Well, just multiply that anxiety you feel when you're sitting down waiting, multiply that times 8. That's what's coming in the next decade. Now, when I opened up New Life Journey about 5 years ago, the only testing and training facility for CompTIA in New Orleans, there were only 2 schools offering coding curriculum as a curriculum to elementary schools. And they were rich schools, uptown somewhere. And since then, I think there are maybe between 7 or 9 schools that offer it. None of our charter schools have it yet. What does that mean to you and I? In the next decade, the ones who learn in coding gonna be employing the ones who don't. The ones who don't know coding are gonna be dependent on them. This is serious business. We have to wake up. We have to wake up and look at what's going on. This is serious business. That's why I encourage people, check it out. The platform is called Yes We Code. All right. I've been a member for over 6 years, and I am the point man for the Southeast region for Yes We Code. And so I hope I've answered your question some sort of way. I think I heard the word funding in your question. Did you say something about funding?
He asked about how do you fund your school or work, or I'm not sure.
We are a private school. We expect you to invest in yourself. We expect you to invest in your child's education. We know you can do it because we know our people spend over $1 trillion a year on buying something, right? When I see a line to buy $200, $300 tennis shoes, I know you should be investing in
something more than your feet.
Something serious, right? And by the way, remember, once you get certified and can do the work, in terms of tuition, we're not losing any sleep over our tuition because it's reasonably cheap compared to what we are giving you. If a kid enrolls in Life of Christ Christian Academy, say you're a freshman, by the time that kid graduates, he's going to have at least 2, maybe 3 IT certifications, and ready to work, and probably working while he's still in school. We find our kids jobs quick. The ones, especially the ones who get down and can do the work, we make sure we find them work while they're young, because we want them to have the appetite. Say, I don't have to wait till I'm 1,000 years old like Mr. Uqdah or Mr. Johnson. I can make the money now. We come up in the era where you have to be an old man to make $100,000 or something like that. You got children making $100,000 a year now. Some of them. All right. Now, on a basic scale, A+, all the geeks at Best Buy are A+ certified. A+ certification starts anywhere from $28,000 to $56,000 a year. Those 7th graders you seen that they displayed there, all of them are learning A+ now. They're in the 7th grade. Those 7th graders, if they continue to come to my class, they come on a weekend. If they continue and pass the certification exam, they can certify and go to work in the 7th grade. That's what's going on in America. It's just not going on down here in the South. Down here in the South, you got the machine on Tulane and Broad. You can't read. You got your shoestring wrong. Go over here. And we trying to change that dynamic and that narrative at Life of Christ Christian Academy.
And you know, it's interesting because our educational system here in Louisiana, with emphasis on New Orleans, at best, prepares you for mediocrity. And I don't understand how come it is so hard for parents to realize that preparing a child for mediocrity is only preparing them and setting them up to fail.
That's right.
We're here in 2019 talking about New Orleans being a service-oriented city, which means that the best our children can hope for from a basic Louisiana education in New Orleans is for them to go find some service work, unless they are one of the few that has this natural brilliance and they can demonstrate it in the right places, and someone takes some attention to them and begins to prepare them.
Right.
We have the fastest hour in television, my brother, and we're going to have to bring you back because this is just
this is the tip of the iceberg. But I want to clear something up because I want to be, clear and concise and transparent with my communication. I don't want to get the wrong information or wrong concept. When I mention institutions like the Thrive Phoenix ITT, I would never disparage a learning platform. Go learn, right? But know what's going on. These are businesses. These schools are in business to make money, right? So what that means is that they're not going to tell you about the certification. They want you to pay $18,000 for the course. They're not marketing certification.
Yeah.
We marketing certification. We trying to get them in the workforce. So everybody got a class. You got a lot of classes going on. We don't have just class at Life of Christ Christian Academy. What we have is relationship with Fortune 500 companies. We have New Life Journey where you get a technology mentor that's in the workforce. How am I able to do this? Because remember, there's a shortage. So if I tell Lockheed Martin, look, lend me some of your STEM mentors to talk to my students, right? And they're short, that's an investment. That's win-win for everybody.
We're at that point. So if you want to give the contact information, would you put it up again so people will know exactly?
Call us at 504-945-5778. Call us, come visit us. We are on 1851 North Durgey Ward. Come see our school. Life of Christ has been there for 22 years, since 1997. And we want the word out. We've been kind of off grid, and so we want to change that narrative dynamic. And I want to thank Brother Johnson again for having me.
We're going to have you
show.
back because there's other areas I want to get into.
Right.
So we will be bringing you back. I want to thank you for being with us tonight.
I appreciate it, man.
I want to thank the brothers and sisters for tuning in with us, and we'll be back next week with a live show unless we get another storm. But that, for unforeseen, we'll see you next week. Stay strong, stay involved, but most importantly, stay committed to blackness. Uhuru Sasa Ungawa.
Let our rejoicing rise high as listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. A song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day. till victory is won. Listen to me now, yo, before Dr. Dre, there was Dr. James, welding cords around a copper frame. We sing songs, not for the accolades, to lift voices like a helicopter blade. High in the listening skies, my eyes glisten and tears drop down like rain. Not from the pain, from the joy of how far we came. My brainstorms are designed to celebrate our reign. The collective, monuments erected, continents affected, presidents elected, ancestors making moves with the music we've been blessed with. We use it to keep communities connected. Through harmonies, a harmony is collected. Reaping the fruits our foremothers invested. Lift every voice till freedom has manifested. Come on, yeah, lift every voice till freedom has manifested. Come on, listen, lift every voice till freedom has manifested. Come on. Sing a song, full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song, full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun, facing the rising sun. Of our new day begun. It's a new day. Let us march on till victory is won. Till victory is won. This is victory music. Come on, I hope you feel it.